It's never good when you can't, when you're already laughing. Everyone, welcome to the check-in. It's game 7 that we're getting you ready for between the Winnipeg Jets and Seattle Kraken. I am Sarah Orleski.
Hey, I'm Jamie Thomas. This hat, we're giving away 5,000 of these at the 90s. Well, it was 90s night. Now it's 90s day.
On
November 9th.
There you go.
Against the Dallas Stars.
So this is what you have to look forward to. Jamie could not resist.
Yeah.
They said, I mean, we have a number of shows between now and then. Do you really need to put it on now? He said yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
My hair's not very good today either, so that's a big reason for it.
Well,
so
it's good choice then. Excellent.
Thank you so much. So lots of people already pulling in already. Nice lid, Jamie. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate you as always. How about Danilo? Who else is ready for another Jets win? I am.
There you go.
So
sporting all the Jets gear for it. Over the next 30 or so minutes, we will get you ready. You've heard me say it before, but as always, you can follow along and listen to us on X, Facebook, and YouTube. We are here with you every game day, 12:30 Central, to get you ready for the upcoming night, which tonight it is a late start with this being the West Coast. These are Jamie's favorite games.
I love these games.
Loves a 9 p.m. start. So
so when I used to travel with the team, the worst road trips, not because of where you're going, was the West Coast.
Yes.
Because of the time change. So I'd be up at like 5 o'clock in the morning. It's terrible. So
yeah, during COVID times when we would do the TSN broadcast from here within the arena and no one was traveling on the road, we used to have, so we were set up in what was then the Bud Lounge, but we were set up and my cameraman time extraordinaire, Freddie, Mislacha,
the wizard.
Yeah. Would bring in, he brought in an espresso machine. And so at about 9:30, we set it up on the bar. And at about 9:30, we would he'd look at me and go, "Do you need a latte?" I'd say, "Oh, yes, I do."
So the reason why we're asking and talking about this, our question of the day is, will you watch/listen to the entire game with the late start of 9 p.m.? So I won't hold it against you if you don't, because it is late. We all have to work tomorrow. I mean, I have to stay up. It's my job to watch.
You just need some caffeine. It's fine. This is what I like to call a 3 latte sort of day, or 3 coffee.
You are going to drink coffee tonight?
Well, probably, yes. But over the next 30 minutes, we can ask Mitch what he's going to do. Mitchell Clinton's going to join us, as well as Alison Lukan from the Seattle Kraken, to help us get set up as the Jets continue to roll. How about this? 6 games down, 6-0, the record so far.
It's like the other night against St. Louis. You're thinking, okay, road game. It's always tough to play in St. Louis. The Blues get up to that 1-0 start. They look a little flat to get off. And then the second period, they just take over.
Yeah.
And it was just impressive to watch. And Cole Perfetti, we'll get to him in a little bit about how well he's playing, but he had a great second period. Kyle Connor gets the game-winning goal. And then we can think about the game-winning save that Connor Hellebuck made. He just gets a little toe on the end at when Brandon Saad had a chance to tie it up. So it was a great save. That's what happens. You're getting a little bit of big contributions from everybody throughout the lineup. We've heard that consistently through the 6-0 start, and I don't see that changing anytime soon, especially here against Seattle.
Well, you have 12 players that have multi-point games. So Rangers, the only other team that have had at least 12 players. Have multi-point games so far. You mentioned about the job that Connor Hellebuck has done, a 1.4 goals against average, 948 save percentage through his 5 starts. Best career start through 5 games for him. So I'm reading off of this right now. Look at all the stats that I have for you.
Yeah.
All the information that I have. 8th time in history where a Canadian team starts 6-0. The Jets now have 3 straight 3-goal second periods.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's a lot of excitement. I was out at an event for the game in St. Louis. And so I looked down and I snuck a peek at my phone, as many of us often do when we're out and not able to watch. And I looked and I saw, 1-0 Seattle. And then I get into the car and I hear, and it's now 3-2.
Yeah.
And I looked and went, oh, no. The Blues have pulled within 1. And I went, what happened? What did I miss? So I had to go home and rewatch it. So what a second period they had. But as you mentioned, finding they're getting contributions across the board, finding different ways to win too, which I think is a great sign early on.
And their penalty kill came through again on Monday. Tuesday. So St. Louis had a chance to tie the game with the power play in the third period. They shut that down. There's just all kinds of ways. You got a power play goal as well. So there's just a bunch of different ways that we've talked about. So Lori says, I will watch the whole game, but I will be grumpy tomorrow morning when I have to be up at 4 a.m. So hopefully, Lori, the Jets win.
Oh.
4 a.m.
That is dedication. That is what you like to see and hear.
Judy, lead start doesn't matter to me. Go Jets, go. This is one of my favorites already. I will do my best to stay up with toothpicks in my eyes to keep them open. Thank you very much, Alan, on that one. So, and Chris, 10 p.m. in Thunder Bay. We always top it out. Way to go, Chris. We appreciate our fans in Thunder Bay in the Ontario area.
Absolutely. So yesterday, the Winnipeg Jets traveled from St. Louis. So they didn't travel right after the game on Tuesday. So there was no practice yesterday, no media availability. Because of the time change, we like to try to have a player on even when we're on the road. We had Gabriel Velarde join us last game.
From the dressing room.
From the dressing room.
Yeah.
But because of the time change, it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out today. And so we're not even going to be able to, by the time they hit the ice at 11 o'clock Pacific, 1 o'clock here, we will just be finishing up. So you want to definitely listen to Winnipeg Sports Talk as Huss and Remus will continue to get you set for the game and any updates. But we'll have Mitchell Clinton join us shortly to talk a little bit about what's been going on with this Jets team as well. So don't know whether or not we'll see the exact same lineup as what we saw in St. Louis, but the Jets have rolled. As for Seattle, they got off. Yes, it was an optional skate today, but this is a Kraken team that's coming in off of a loss against Colorado, but I think this is game 4 of a 5-game homestand for them. Yeah,
4-3 start for Seattle. They made a coaching change in the offseason with Dan Bilesma becoming the second coach in franchise history. Curious to see how different that team will look. So Alison Lukan will let us know what she thinks the biggest difference between Coach Bilesma and Dave Haxtell, who would coach the Seattle Kraken from their infancy. So we'll see how that goes.
Did you know that his nickname, I was reading an article that his nickname is Disco Dan?
Really?
Yeah. I guess when he was playing that someone already had a nickname. We know that hockey nicknames can be kind of generic at times. Everything's
Iggy,
it's just,
Cross,
you had a Y or you had son to the end. So I guess in honor of his dance moves, he got called Disco Dan. It left him for a while. But apparently some of the Seattle players have picked it up and are running with it as well. So I kind of like that.
Yeah, I do too.
Disco Dan.
Well, if it adds a little something different and it's about dancing, that means entertainment, which is what we are in the business of, entertaining people. So if Disco Dan can entertain Kraken fans and NHL fans for the whole thing, that works for me. I realize this hat is like popping out of the shot.
Just get the quads going. Just bend
right.
down a little bit.
That works. Yeah. Okay. Cole Perfetti. All right. Yeah. So there was that conversation early on in the year about the second line. Where are they going to be able to produce offensively? Vladislav Nemesnikov, Cole Perfetti, and Nikolai Ehlers. So we found out the last 3 games, yes, they can. And especially Cole Perfetti has got 7 points in his last 3 games. 3 assists on Tuesday, all in the second period. And of course, the game-winning assist on the goal, I had an assist on the power play goal from Kyle Connor, had a nice assist from Colin Miller. What a shot he made to give the Jets the lead at 2-1. So it's he's been fantastic. And if you really don't believe us, we're going to ask Kyle Connor.
And he's we know what type of player he is. Really smart. Really spacious. Knows where everybody is on the ice, and you can see it with a couple of the plays he made tonight. So it's awesome. We need everybody to be contributing, and we are. It's never know who it's going to be every single night, and that's what's great about this team is it's so tough to cover our depth.
All right, Kyle Connor, post game after the game in St. Louis.
And my comment is not about that. It's about the last home game when he assisted on Nemesnikov's.
Yes.
Where he was part of Nemesnikov's goal. I love that line is going now.
Because there's a lot of criticism about it.
There was. And in short order, too. I mean, we sometimes forget. I think we get so wrapped up, especially when there's games every other day. You start to forget that we're 6 games into the season. And at that point, say 3 games into the season. And it can take a little bit of time. Scott Arneal had spoken about, this makes me very nervous.
What?
Scott.
Just forgetting to plug in my laptop again. Sarah, don't worry. Carry on with your story. It's great. Keep going. Keep going.
Scott Arneal has mentioned on numerous occasions about how with Cole Perfetti missing those first few days of camp, that it maybe took them a little bit to get going. They didn't have the same time together, but also that he had throughout the entire time liked what he saw from them in terms of building elements, that defensive side of their game was there, which we've seen the success that they've had in that respect in terms of goals against, chances against them as well, and how they've been limited. And those three, when you look at Perfetti, Namestnikov, and Ehlers, the styles of game that they play, they complement each other, but they all bring something different to the table, whether it be the vision, the 200-foot game, or the speed as well.
I appreciate everything you just said. You know who also appreciates what you say?
Who?
Mitchell Clinton, who joins us from Seattle. Hey, Mitch, first question, but not really. Will you watch/listen to the entire game with the late start tonight?
I saw that question of the day come up, and I was like, I will definitely be doing that. Yes. So you can put one in the yes column.
What is the key to staying up late, Mitch?
Coffee. Tons of it.
See, that's what I say as well.
You happen to be in the right place for coffee, so I think you're doing okay.
Yeah.
We also make a point of putting a GoPro in Mitch and Paul's
office
broadcast booth.
They have no privacy,
so they have no option but to stay awake.
Yeah, because everybody's watching.
That's right.
So please lead us off, Sarah.
All right. You heard us talking about the start, obviously, and everyone, I think, is talking about the Jets start being the only undefeated team in the NHL right now. What is it that stood out to you most when you think about these first 6 games?
Depth and special teams, I think. Those are pretty much two of the most obvious storylines, but they're obvious for a reason, in my opinion. And you look at how the goals have kind of been spread out. You have the Scheifele line's got 10, and I get there's some special teams involved, so it's not like that trio is responsible for 10 goals. You know what I mean? But that Scheifele line's got 10 goals. Nemestikov's line has 6. Lowry's line has 6, and even that fourth line, whether it's Kapari or Gustafsson, that's with Barron and Iafallo, they've found the back of the net as well. But also, they've also had some shifts and some work in the offensive zone that has turned momentum at times for the Winnipeg Jets, right? So I think depth is something that's really been at the forefront for me, especially up front. And obviously Josh Morrissey's got himself in and among the league leaders when it comes to points among defensemen. So he's just continuing on, and Neil Pionk's been really good as well. And then obviously the special teams has just been something that has turned games for Winnipeg. You look at the game against St. Louis, that's a big goal that Niederreiter scores on the power play to get things rolling, and Winnipeg's penalty kill comes up big as well. So it's probably been those two things for me. It's hard to answer this question and not say Connor Hellebuck and Eric Comrie. They've been very good as well.
So next question, we were just, speaking of that depth, I think we were all waiting patiently to see how Cole Perfetti was going to react to the new contract. The contract extension 2 years. Obviously, he's leaning on that, and he can make big numbers out of that. So he's got 7 points in his last 3 games. What have you liked about his game over the last 3?
I would say, his playmaking's always kind of been there. I don't know. I haven't had the chance to ask him this, but maybe I will today. Perhaps we'll see. I think his shot has a little more zip on it than it has in previous years, and I don't know if that's just something that I see and maybe something that is not really there, but I just seem to think it is. But I think of the one-timer goal that he scored earlier this year, and it just seemed it came off his stick quicker. I don't know if that's, again, maybe just something I'm seeing. And obviously he's got the hockey IQ. It just took a little bit of time for that line to kind of gel together once again, like we've seen. And oh, hello everyone! I'm seeing saying hi to me. I love it.
I wondered if you could see that. So yeah, that's great that you can see everybody saying hello to you. That's awesome.
What a great day.
Yes.
So a little bit of that, but for him, for Perfetti, I think for him it was just a matter of finding how to read off of Nikolai Ehlers the most effective way possible. And now that they have been able to do that, it's been really cool to watch him play. The other thing that stood out to me, yes, defensively he's been very good. There's a lot of the talk about the stick lift in St. Louis that helped prevent a one-timer from getting to the net, but his play along the walls in the defensive zone has also been something that stood out to me.
I can hear guys obviously on the ice right now, which I know that the morning skate hasn't started yet, but do you think that we're going to see the same lineup, or do you think that maybe Scott Arniel, given the schedule that we're in right now, do you expect to see any changes?
I don't expect it, but of course,
But
everything
he likes to keep you on your toes.
I know. And like, you always wonder if, maybe there's going to be that change at fourth line center. But I thought what was interesting is as that game against St. Louis went on, I think we saw Rasmus Kapari take some pretty important draws as the game went on. So good for him to, be able to jump right back in the lineup and be someone that, Scott Arniel and the coaching staff can put right back in there. So I'm curious about that part. And of course, curious about whether, Logan Stanley stays in for a third straight game. I thought he was good again against St. Louis. So, good problems to have when you have the depth that the Winnipeg Jets do. I just know, for Scott Arniel that you don't want people sitting too long. So you wonder about Hayden Fleury possibly getting back in as well. His brother Cale just got recalled by Seattle this morning. So we'll see, maybe he draws in, maybe he doesn't. It's so many curveballs still to come. And yeah, a little bit of an earlier morning skate for the Winnipeg Jets today. Seattle not skating at Climate Pledge. So Winnipeg taking advantage of that and getting on the ice in, earlier than the 11 o'clock Pacific start time than what was scheduled.
Well, what we look forward to seeing then, Mitch, is your starting goaltender tweet whenever it comes out.
Yeah, we're watching, and we might pop it up. That's what we do here at the check-in.
I'll be right on time with that. So I'm keeping my eyes out. And Eric Comrie, like he always is already on the ice getting some work in. So
okay.
We'll wait and see if the Connor Hellebuck starting routine, as it's so creatively called, gets underway. Right when things get going just before 11 here.
A lot of good writing in that one. I'll save you one of these hats, and I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
As you know, I look tremendous in hats. So, looking forward to that one.
Enjoy the rest of the road trip.
See you, buddy.
Will do. See you later.
All right, there's Mitchell Clinton joining us from Seattle. There is some coffee places there.
Just a few.
We won't get into publication.
But just a few. But the road trip continuing on tonight in Seattle, then the Jets playing Saturday in Calgary as well, which should be a great one because the Flames are off to a great start too. Yeah,
Calgary's 5-0-1 already. So who saw that?
No.
I'm sorry.
Not I.
Yeah, no disrespecting to Ryan Leslie from Sportsnet will join us on Saturday, but that's another show, another time. So let's move along here as we Alison Lukan will be joining us here. It is 12:48, so Alison will be joining us in about 2 minutes to talk about the Seattle Kraken. They have changed up their lineup.
They have, which if we have, I think that we have this. So we mentioned that they lost 4-3 to Colorado their night in. So Dan Bylsma switching up the lines. I don't know if you can see them there. I
hope their screen's bigger than ours.
That's right.
Yeah. I need my glasses. Wait a second. Okay, McCann, Beniers, Eberle on the top line, Tanev, Stevenson, Schwartz, Tolvanen, Gord, Bjorkstrand. Those are the mix of the change-ups on the lines so far for the Seattle Kraken. But
and an optional skate is mentioned this morning. So that is what we're expecting to see, though. But Dan, when Bylsma was asked about it and the changes, he mentioned that Tolvanen line about 2 seasons ago, really one of the best third lines he thought in the game. So it is Jamie's hat seafoam.
Is that the color? Is that what we're going for?
It's not seafoam. No, it's blue. It's a very 90s blue.
Hat. Yeah.
It's a very 90s blue.
Sun ice.
If
jackets.
you are of our age and you were around and had the 90s fashions, this is a color that you will know very well. The Jets have had a lot of success in Seattle. 7-2 all time against the Kraken.
So Allison's supposed to join us. I can see her laughing because she's like, "What show have I done when somebody?"
Why have I agreed to do this?
Alison Lukan, thank you so much. Did you picture a host wearing a hat that looks as good as this when you decided to come on this show today?
Listen, as much as we all have to be camera ready, I am pro any kind of hat anytime you can get away with it. Thank you guys so much for having me. This is amazing, an awesome honor.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And for Jets fans, if you do not follow Alison awesome. On X and on social media, you really should. Alison, I have to say, I love the content that you put out. And, I able to watch some of your work on the Kraken broadcast, but then what you are able to provide fans, the insight and the different approaches that you take from a statistical standpoint to give people a wider understanding of where the Kraken team is at is great, even for those of us that are just watching from the outside.
Well,
I would just like to know how fast you put your report cards together, because a lot of teachers would like to know how you do the marking so quickly like that. So that, including Sarah's mom.
It's true.
Well, I have some help, I'm not going to lie, but that is so kind. I was just watching you guys this weekend, so it really is cool to connect with people that I look up to and admire. So thank you again so much. I love bringing a little bit of data to things, but not making it like eating your vegetables, right? We have to have fun. This is hockey. So bringing good stories with a little bit of data sprinkled in is something I just really enjoy.
Before we get going, just making it digestible is so key, because I fully admit that math and numbers not necessarily ever been my forte, even if you go back, I don't know, 3 decades or so to high school days. But I think that you make it very consumable for all of us. So
how are the Kraken responding to Dan Biles, Alison?
Yeah, it's been a very big culture shift, and that's something that he said he wanted to bring. And he's out there some practices literally trying to block shots and running to the bench before games and running off the bench after the games. But, he really wants to solidify a culture and an identity for this team that is hardworking and focused. And so far, of course, some winning early has helped, right? Is solidifying what I think he's trying to build. And he's been really open about kind of the tweaks he's trying to make. And it's been interesting to watch so far.
We mentioned just before you came on about how there was the lineup or the line changes in practice yesterday, which generated a lot of attention in the Seattle area. What are you watching for tonight against the Jets?
Yeah, it's one of the other big kind of tenet that Dan said he had when he became head coach for the Kraken was really unleashing more offense from this group. That was something they've struggled with historically. That second year, that playoff year, they did have a huge shooting percentage that helped. So I'm not surprised that he's looking at some different lines. I'm going to be watching the reuniting of the Yanni Gourde line. The playoff year, that was one of the Kraken's best lines. What impressed me so much was that Yanni Gourde and Oliver Bjorkstrand, who plays on the right side of that wing, were in the top 20 of the entire league in terms of takeaway plus minus. They were taking away the puck more than they were giving it away. So I'll be watching them to see if that clicks again. And then I'll be watching too to see Andre Burakovsky. He's been really big in terms of all the underlying behaviors that you want to see from an offensive powerhouse, but he just hasn't been able to get that puck in the net off his stick directly yet. So getting him going, I think, is another big thing they want to see, along with Matty Beniers.
Ron Francis spent a little bit of money this offseason, and one of those big checks that he signed was for Chandler Stevenson. And with those big contracts comes big expectations. How is Chandler Stevenson living up to expectations so far?
Yeah, I think I've always just loved Chandler Stevenson's game. And I think with a player like that, you have to know what you're getting and see if he meets those expectations. I think what stands out to me is he's just a tremendous skater. He reminds me of Jeff Carter. If people watched him at his prime, it just looks effortless, right? And all of a sudden he's all the way down at the other end of the rink. And he's also so smart. He's making decisions that are really crafty, but not risky. So he's one of those players that, as we love to say, kind of slows the play down. He's not going to be your shooter. He's not going to be your big time goal scorer, but I think he's really solidified the middle of the ice. Is it an overpay? I mean, we've all read all the analysis on that so far, but I think we also know that's kind of what free agency is about, right? And if you can get this production right now from him, it's what the Kraken need to make the next step, hopefully. So I really like what I'm seeing from him right now in where he is.
Certainly doesn't hurt that he's a Stanley Cup champion as well, Alison. I'm sure that's a big reason why they brought him aboard. Where can our fans find you down the road here, should they choose so?
Well, we are obviously, if you're on in the States, ESPN Plus, or however package you pay for to watch all the NHL games. I'm on the pre, post, and intermission show there. And on social media, I'm at Alison L, and you can follow all my crazy ramblings and data stuff there.
All right. Looking forward to your report card tonight, and when we look forward to talking down the road. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much. Great to talk with you both. Thank you.
Have a great broadcast tonight.
Thank you.
Listen to Alison say about how Dan's trying to get some more offense out of it. They were 29th last year in goals for games. So there's also talk about how he tries to keep pairs together, which I think you see with a lot of coaches, right? It's not necessarily about how
wait. Whoa.
Jamie was too.
That's ageism.
I don't know. Joe, you might have just shot up the list.
I'm saving you this hat then, Joe. You can have, I'll sign it for you too. So
I know that. How about this? I know that color. I feel old now. We all know this color. Let's be honest. Jamie should have broke out his chip and pepper sweatshirt with that hat. Oh, chip and pepper, a staple.
Okay.
Remember the ones that used to hypercolors too?
Okay. So great story. I worked at Randy River. And we sold those hypercolors, and man, my armpits used to be like it looked like I was sweating. And then I always had and then in my chest, like it was like a huge circle all the time. So yeah, I stopped wearing those real fast, but I know exactly the shirt you're talking about.
Now you know why Jamie doesn't need more coffee to be able to get through the day. I mentioned before that we could have an old show. Imagine what 90s, if you have not marked it, not only do you need to be in the building for 90s Day on November the 9th, but we'll have a lot of fun with 90s talk. Maybe you could have good stories going up.
You know what we promised us? Ready? There it is.
Yes.
The Connor Hellebuyck starting routine begins. Looks like he's getting the call tonight against Seattle.
If you do not follow Mitchell Clinton, you absolutely should. He tweets from all 82 games for the Jets and 60 some odd times a season. That is what you look forward to seeing.
TMI, too much information.
Kenny's water bottle, not a fan. But we will continue to get you set up for 90s nights throughout the next week. In a bit, because we're a couple weeks and we'll have some fun. Undoubtedly, Jamie has no shortage of stories. I have told him already that he should write a book on many, many occasions. So looking forward to that.
Yeah.
All your spare time, just throwing.
If you just joined us, the reason why I'm wearing this hat is 90s Day here at Canada Life Center, November 9th. Dallas is in town, 2 p.m. start. Giving away a bunch of these should you get to the building early for that one.
But before we get to there, we've got the game tonight.
Yeah.
As mentioned, Jets won 7 games out of their 9 that they've played against the Kraken. They're 3-1 in Seattle right now. The Jets, of course, 6-0 to start this season. What a job the Jets have done. They will look to go 7-0 tonight.
Should we talk about the Monday game as well while we're at it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's cross it off because we've got to wrap soon because we're almost at the 1 o'clock hour.
So Monday's a Prime game.
Yep.
Amazon Prime.
Looking forward to.
You have to have Amazon Prime in order to watch the game. So the Leafs are in town. There'll be 3 other games on Amazon Prime. It'll be Monday, December 30th against Nashville, February 24th against San Jose, and then April 7th against the St. Louis Blues. So if you can see on your screen, here's how to watch Prime Monday Night Hockey. We were going to have a special guest on Monday as well. We're not quite sure from the panel at this point who that's going to be, but that'll be the Monday game against the Toronto Maple Leafs here at Canada Life Center. Yeah,
it should be a great one. I mean, anytime that you have the Leafs and the Jets play against each other, it's always a fantastic atmosphere. KC's running, Kyle Connor running with his 6-game point streak so far, 5-game point streaks or 5 points in 5 games, should I say, for Josh Morrissey, Nikolai Ehlers, Mark Scheifele. So as we mentioned again throughout this last half hour, a number of players being able to contribute contributions across the board, finding different ways to win. They were able to do it in Seattle. They look to do it again tonight.
They've had a lot of success in Seattle at Climate Pro Edge Arena. We hope that continues. So on behalf of Mitchell Clinton, Alison Lukan, she's Sarah Lesky, I'm Jamie Thomas. Thanks so much for watching The Check-In.
We'll see you on Saturday.
Yeah, we will. 12:30, Calgary Flames. See you then.